Recognize that document.
This appears to be an email from Mr. LeBel to me.
And the date of that document is January the 13th, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the subject line is Hurley, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Would that be Eddie Hurley?
That's the only Hurley that I know.
What's he telling you to do on there, do you recall?
No, sir, I don't.
You have any recollection of him telling you a good job of getting Mr. Hurley's site shut down?
No, sir, you're asking to remember a year ago, and I frankly don't know the details of what this particular reference may be to.
Ask that be admitted as exhibit, the next exhibit. Here again, this is another email that I'm trying to get you to do things once I apologize. Once again, this is another email that I should have received from Mr. LeBel, open records request, if he contained those in his, or had those in his documents, is that right?
To what are you referring now?
The last exhibit I just showed you. It's another email that should have showed up in Mr. LeBel's.
If the record exists.
Showing you another document that I think was previously already admitted. Ask if you have seen that. What's the date on that document?
January 17th.
Do you recognize that document?
It's an email. I don't recall it from memory, but it appears to be an email.
And can you summarize that for me? That email for me?
There's an email from Mr. Morrison to myself, carbon copies to Mr. Hurley and Mr. Knight, concerning a schedule on a scheduled meeting to discuss Panther Creek. There's a section where I'm talking to Mr. Branham, indicating that I have a meeting with Mr. LeBel this morning, but we need to meet prior to the meeting that Mr. Morrison is referring to before we sit down with Mr. Hurley.
Do you recall if that meeting with Mr. LeBel was related to Panther Creek or Mr. Hurley in any way?
I do not.
Did you all ever meet or have any discussions following the work order or the stop work order being issued concerning the Panther Creek site with you and Mr. LeBel specifically?
Have Mr. LeBel and I had a conversation about that site since the stop work order?
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. How many discussions have you had about the site?
I do not know.
Approximately.
Many.
Okay. Primary, and these just when you and him were present?
They've occurred in many locations and many instances. I know there have been other people around sometimes, and it's been just the two of us sometimes.
What have those discussions entailed primarily?
Basically, comparing of notes on the status of various actions trying to bring the site into compliance.
Comparing notes, what type of notes are you referring to?
I'm updating in terms of my understanding of where things stand and what the status is.
Is that something that you did regularly with all council members?
Mr. LeBel, I think, has expressed more of an interest than some others, but I think you can see from the documents I've provided that it's been a frequent topic in my weekly updates.
Mr. LeBel ever expressed to you why he was so concerned with bringing this site into compliance?
I believe that it would be twofold. One would be a number of complaints coming to him and a personal dissatisfaction with the way the project's moving.
Why would he be personally dissatisfied? Did he express that to you?
No, sir, I don't believe that I've heard a detailed expression of why he would be dissatisfied, other than we're all pretty put out with the appearance of that corner of our community.
He expressed to you he was pretty dissatisfied with the Brookline site not being in compliance over a 2-year period?
Yes, sir, I can recall some expression of dissatisfaction with their lack of maintenance of the site.
Was he pretty dissatisfied with the overall way that site looked with the partially torn down building standing there?
I think I can recall more than one occasion he's expressed some concern and displeasure with their lack of progress.
Did he give you justification as to why that site had not been brought up to date or had not complied with the NOVs?
I don't know how Mr. LeBel would provide justification for another owner's lack of progress.